The Honorable Penny Ascarati, presiding. Please be seated. Come to order.
Good morning, Judy. Can you hear everything okay today? Okay, good. All right, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
All right, do we have any preliminary matters before the jury comes out?
Yes, Your Honor, we would just ask leave for Your Honor to please publish our agreed demonstrative.
All right. There's no objection to that? People change places here. I just want to make sure I look at the right place.
There you are.
Okay, we're good.
It's a blank screen right now, so we would ask to publish it now.
Okay. I'm assuming it's...
We tried it out beforehand. It seemed to work.
If it's a blank screen, it's hard to see if it's working or not.
Understood.
It is published,
Thank you.
but it's just a blank screen, I guess. Okay. We're going to hope that's it then. All right, thank you. Anything else we have? All right, we're ready for the jury?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
No one had ever accused Mr. Depp of being violent with a woman. He had been in other long-term relationships. He had children.
Objection, Your Honour. Excuse me. May we approach? One of the motions in limine that we had was that he couldn't say that he was or was not abused by somebody else without having the proper foundation to. Judge Penny, we didn't have that. I mean, bench you. Yes, I'm sorry, Your Honour, but that was specifically ruled on. It was denied. Come on, you know it was denied. Judge Penny, we have the agreed order, right? Bench you. Yes, it was denied. I'm an officer of the court. That was clearly denied. She knows that. Elaine. It's subject to foundation, Your Honour. He has no witnesses. Judge Penny. But it's the opening statements. We didn't say anything they couldn't say in opening statements. Bench you. Thank you, Your Honour. Judge Penny, thank you.
No one, as I stated before, no one had
live in her and she will never forget him. And he meant it. So, in the summer of 2018, you heard Ms. Vasquez say he wants to clear his name, he can't be called a wife beater, etc. But an article, an op-ed appeared on the Sun Times in London. They called him a wife beater. It was written by Dan Wooten, the CEO, or the chief editor of the Sun at the time. And he is writing because Johnny Depp is being cast in Fantastic Beasts 3. And so the article is, why is J.K. Rowling...
Bench you. Your Honour, may we approach? Judge Penny, yes. Judge Penny, we're going into the UK issues here. Elaine, just a judgment. Judge Penny, no, we're not going into anything in the UK. Elaine, Your Honour. Judge Penny, in those statements I made it perfectly clear in motion in limine we're not going to, especially in the opening statements. We're not going to talk about the UK. Judgment in the opening statement. Later on, you can get into it. Elaine, I wasn't talking about the judgment. I'm talking about the lawsuit. That's different. Judge Penny, no. When we get to the lawsuit, that talks about the UK judgment. Where are you going with it then, if you're not going to do it? Elaine, because it's already been called that. Judge Penny, no, that's a judgment. By the judgment. I mean, you're going, right? Elaine, no, it's not the judgment, it's the lawsuit. They never moved. Judge Penny, the lawsuit is the judgment, period, Miss Brederhoff. You're not going to go into it, period. Elaine, Your Honour, I think they also opened the door, Your Honour. Judge Penny, they did not. It's opening statements. He did not open the door. Elaine, Your Honour, it's very clear in the motion in limine that they only asked for the judgment, not the lawsuit. Judge Penny, the lawsuit is the judgment. It's the same thing, Miss Brederhoff. I hope I didn't have to say that to you. Elaine, I apologise, Your Honour, but I respectfully disagree. Judge Penny, no, It's the opposite thing. You just have to move on, okay? Ben Chew, thank you, Your Honour.
So you will hear testimony. Let me back up a little bit. So you have.
Would you please tell the jurors what your relationship with Johnny was like when you were growing up?
Johnny and I were very close. With having the older brother and older sister, we were the two younger ones, so we were really close, and we basically were together all the time. We played together. We played Hot Wheels. We, played Batman and Robin, where we each had a role in that. And he's probably going to be embarrassed that I say any of this, but, we practiced, karate kicks with each other and chopping. We were just friends. We were like best friends.
What was Johnny like as a young boy?
Objection, Your Honor, 404.
If you want to approach.
J.B. Rottenborn. It's lack of character evidence. Ben Chew, Your Honour, it's just background. J.B. Rottenborn. Your Honour, he's going to get up and say he was gentle and he wasn't violent and all this stuff, and that can't come in under 404. It's used to prove action and conformity therewith. Judge Penny. Right, now all I heard was just information about his background. I assume we're not getting into that he was gentle. Ben Chew. No, it's really we're getting into, it's relevant for both their backgrounds, as far as the abuse, which is where we're going. J.B. Rottenborn. Okay. Well, when he starts asking questions and eliciting testimony about how he's transforming, he'd never hurt a fly. Judge Penny. He said that's not where he's going, so we have notice for that. Okay? Ben Chew. Thank you.
As I was saying, Ms. Dombrowski, what was Johnny like as a little boy?
He was there were times when she would come and visit our mom, I would see her then, I would see the two of them then. I didn't really spend a tremendous amount of time with her.
Had you formed any impression of Miss Heard at that time based on your observations?
I did. I did. Look, I didn't know her very well, and I would spend time. Like I said, she would come to my mom's house. I've sat with her and my mom.
Object on 404. What was your impression of Amber?
Based on her observation, she's describing what she observed, Your Honor.
Doesn't matter. It's 404.
I don't think that's right, Your Honor. I think she's describing what she observed.
Right. We want to approach for a moment. We'll just start.
So, you can describe what they observed, but if she's getting into, she was unfriendly, she was standoffish, these characterizations can't come in. If she was just observing, I saw her and him holding hands. That's, you know what I'm saying. Just to her observations, she can't characterize them because that is character evidence. J.B. Rottenborn. It's her impression of Miss Heard, that's not. Judge Penny. So I think you need to reform that question so it's just observations, just the observations, okay? Ben Chew. Thank you, Your Honour. Judge Penny? Okay.
Did there come a time when what you saw, what did you see?
Relevance
Why is that relevant?
and hearsay.
Was the...
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question. Okay.
How did you feel when you read the press?
Relevance. How the witness felt is irrelevant.
What's the relevance?
I think I think it's relevant to her testimony, Your Honor, but I can move on.
Okay, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Moving ahead 2 years in time, did you see Ms. Heard's Washington Post op-ed when it was published in December 2018?
Yes.
What did you think Ms. Heard's op-ed was about?
Relevance.
It's entirely relevant. They're trying to argue somehow that people didn't understand what the op-ed meant. We heard an opening where there was...
I want you to approach,
Yes, Your Honor.
please.
Judge Penny, what is her opinion of the op-ed? How is that relevant? Ben Chew, what was not her opinion, but what did she think it was about? He's arguing that because it didn't. Judge Penny, but that's still her opinion of what she thought it was about. Ben Chew, right, but I mean, they are trying to argue that people didn't understand that this was about Johnny Depp. I mean, she's a human being. Judge Penny, I understand, but I'll sustain the objection, okay? Ben Chew, thanks.
The four texts in the middle of the page. If you look in the from column, there's a name that says Christy Dombrowski and it has a number. Is that your number?
Yes.
And are those texts from you to your brother, Johnny Depp?
Yes.
And those texts were sent on or about February 5th, 2014?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 214.
Any objection to 214?
Can I just say something?
No,
though?
just wait, ma'am. Just wait for a
I'm
question.
sorry.
Yes, sure.
Judge Penny, it seems to be more than 4 texts on here though. Ben Chew, yeah, that was one of the things I was going to say. JB Rottenborn, I just told Heather to start with what you see. Ben Chew, well, that's one problem. And then one problem is, there's a lot of other messages on that. Judge Penny, right, I mean, it has to just be redacted. Ben Chew, and there are a lot of personal identifiers. Judge Penny, with the phone numbers. JB Rottenborn, I mean, what do we do about it? Judge Penny, we can redact the phone numbers. She's already agreed that she sent these texts, and they are texts between her and Mr. Depp. So we don't want to have the phone numbers out. JB Rottenborn, why don't we have the text and date, and we don't even need this in the from column for today. Maybe we'll figure out something for tomorrow. Judge Penny, well, I need a redacted copy from you and hard copy before you can post it to the jury. Like, you can't publish it to the jury today if you don't have the redacted copy. JB Rottenborn, can we display if she's able to get the column with the text and the... Judge Penny, if she can get just the column, I think she's trying to do it just with the... JB Rottenborn, yeah, you can see it. Judge Penny, well, she would have to explain who's talking to who, because you don't see that without the numbers column. JB Rottenborn, right, I'll ask the witness that. Judge Penny, but she can move it over. Would you have an objection to that? She's starting to move it over. She's included just those for to not being identifiers. JB Rottenborn, yeah, I'll take out the identifiers. Sorry about that. Judge Penny, that's fine. And this can only be an exhibit tomorrow. We were going to have to do these. I understand that. So if she's just can get this one column, and then that's the next column if you want. Is that the one you want? JB Rottenborn, yeah, just those two. Judge Penny, so all the identifiers will be gone. It would just be the 2 texts. Ben Chew, that would solve the problem. I still think it's unfairly prejudicial. Judge Penny, I understand that. I'll overrule that, but if you can just observe just that part of it, just show that to the jury. You owe me that redaction tomorrow, okay? JB Rottenborn, okay. Judge Penny, If you can just get to take me, Ben Chew. Thank you, Your Honour. JB Rottenborn, apologise for the delay, Judge.
All right, so you're moving in 214, we'll receive it redacted?
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct? Okay. Over objection, that's fine. And you wanted to publish just the redacted parts, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I don't recall anyone's behavior from February 2014. I don't recall February 2014.
Would it refresh your recollection perhaps to see other text messages that you sent on or around this time to determine whether or not you were worried about Mr. Depp?
If there's other context, I guess, I don't know.
Why don't we do this? Heather, can you please pull up Exhibit 210? Your Honor, may I approach?
All right.
Thank you.
JB Rottenborn. I just want to preview now. Judge Penny. All right, what do we have here? JB Rottenborn. She's going to say, she says that she doesn't know whether she was worried about him. So I'm going to ask her. I'm going to ask her about some of these texts. But obviously, I'm just trying to short circuit some objections here. Judge Penny. So these texts are between Amber, Ben Chew. They're Amber's statements. This is a most. JB Rottenborn. Well, I'm going to ask her about her statements. Ben Chew. A dubious kind of hearsay. Judge Penny. My question first is, who are these texts from? Ben Chew. I'm sorry. Amber. JB Rottenborn. Between Amber and Christie. Judge Penny. Amber and this witness. Just making sure. Get nomenclature together. You guys have been living there a lot longer. I want to make sure. Ben Chew. They're clearly hearsay. Judge Penny. Okay. I see what your objection is going to be. So what's your basis? Elaine. So I'm going to ask Ms. Dombrowski about her texts. Obviously that's not hearsay. Judge Penny. Are you offering them into evidence, or are you just JB Rottenborn? Yeah, I'm offering them into evidence. I mean, she says I don't love any of it. Judge Penny. I mean, how do you get them in without Ben Chew? You can. It's a dialogue, and it's the same thing we talked about. JB Rottenborn. Well, they're Miss Dombrowski. I'm going to ask her about them. Judge Penny. I understand you're going to ask her about these statements. I understand those are her statements. How are you going to get them into context if you're not getting JB Rottenborn? Well, I don't know, and that's why I wanted to preview, because I have to be able to ask her about contemporaneous writing that she made, particularly that are impeachment or 787. She just said she doesn't know if she was worried about what she texted. On page 2, she said, I don't love any of this behaviour. She tells Amber, worry about everything. Ben Chew. This is all, Your Honour, I mean, will you let me talk? Judge Penny. Go ahead. Everybody, it's late. I know sunshine. Ben Chew. He's the bad Ben, Your Honour. We all know that. Ben Rottenborn. They are not hearsay, so I'm going to ask her about that. Judge Penny. I think you can ask her about that. Did you recall texting with Miss Heard, where you said that you were worried about him? I think that's fine. And if she doesn't remember, you can show her the text yourself. But if she doesn't have a memory, I don't see how you can get these texts in evidence. JB Rottenborn. Well, I'm going to try it one more time. Judge Penny. So far, you haven't done it, okay? JB Rottenborn. But I want to preview this. Judge Penny. That's all right. That's fine. JB Rottenborn. These, when she says, no one ever told me that he was on a recent bender, that's impeachment. That's not going to be hearsay. I mean, I can impeach the witness and bring in other evidence, and that contradicts that witness's testimony. So when she's up there telling the jury, I don't know why I sent these texts, then what she's telling us, I mean, Amber has just told her he's on a bender, and she's saying, I have no idea. No one ever told me this. I have no idea. And so if texts like this come in, they're coming in for impeachment, not for hearsay. Judge Penny, all right. So are you, but if she says, yes, I recall doing these texts, and yes, now I remember she told me he was on a bender, so that's why I sent them or something, are you saying these texts still come in, even though she's admitted to it? J.B. Rottenborn, yeah. Judge Penny, but she might not. J.B. Rottenborn, yeah, maybe not. Maybe we can take it back. Judge Penny, yeah, if she doesn't admit to it, then I think you can do intrinsic evidence, but if even after showing them to her, if she says no, I think you have a basis for putting them into evidence, not for hearsay. There'll be limiting instructions later that it's not here for the truth of the matter. I'm not sure exactly what all of these say, but J.B. Rottenborn, I'm sorry. Judge Penny, but I mean, if it's a bender, she's talking about a bender, there are statements in that would then be an issue. J.B. Rottenborn, I don't know, and that's going to Ben Chew. Well, virtually everything coming from Miss Heard is out. Judge Penny, well, I mean, we'll have to pass it. It wouldn't be able to come in today, but you can definitely talk to her about it, and then we can figure out on our own what actually would be able to come in. You can talk to her about it, show it to her, that's fine. You just won't be able to show it to the jury. Give it in evidence today. Does that make sense? J.B. Rottenborn, thank you. Yes, I just wanted to. Ben Chew, as to reserving all of our objections on this. Judge Penny, all your objections. Ben Chew, because this is widely hearsay and the least reliable. Judge Penny, it would have to be redacted for sure, but at least today she might say yes, now I recall. That would be a double negativity, okay? Ben Rottenborn, thank you, Your Honour. Ben Chew, thank you. Judge Penny, no, that's fine.
Ms. Dombrowski, do you recognize this document as a text message chain between you and Amber Heard on February 3rd, 2014?
Yes.
And you see the chain starts at about 5.
Right, not the last two words and not the sentence above it, and not any of the sentences below it or any of the other texts, but Ms. Dombrowski's texts come in, but you got to just take out her phone number for me. Okay? So if you can give me, you owe me that, and I'll allow the redacted one into evidence, and you can owe that to me tomorrow, okay? And you also owe me 214 tomorrow too, correct?
Yes, sir. One on that one. Can we, if we redact we only show the last 2 columns. If we redact the personal identifiers, can we then show the other columns that correspond to the text that you?
That as long as the personal identifiers was what the objection was. So if you could do that for just the 4.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And get rid of the others. Okay. All right. That's all I had. Yes, ma'am. You had something.
Elaine,
Okay.
may we approach Judge Penny, okay? Elaine, Your Honour, as the jury was shuffling out, the second to the end on the front. Judge Penny, that juror. Elaine, that juror went like this, bye, to Johnny Depp, and he waved back at him. Camille Vasquez, it was not to him. Elaine, it was to Johnny. Camille, it was not. Judge Penny, okay. Camille, it was generally in our direction, to the courtroom. Judge Penny, well, I can give an instruction tomorrow first thing when the jury comes in to make sure they understand that they can have no contact or no information to anybody. Camille, he was standing out of respect, as Your Honour told us, and he just looked generally in our direction. Judge Penny, I didn't see it, so I don't know. But I will pay attention to it. I will give them instruction tomorrow just to make sure they understand about that again. And I'll pay attention to it. And if it is something that we think is a problem as the days go on, we do have alternates for a reason. So we can work from that. Ben Chew, thank you, Your Honour. Elaine, and Mr. Depp waved back to him. He went bye back. Judge Penny, if you would instruct your client, we could do that. Ben Chew, okay, thank you, Your Honour. Judge Penny, okay, thank you, all right. Anything else for this evening then? Anything else for this evening, anybody? We're good? Elaine? No, Your Honour. Judge Penny? All right, good. Mr. Chew? Ben Chew? No, Your Honour. Camille? No, Your Honour. Thank you, Your Honour.